Hello, Bloomington. I'm Mayor Tim Busse, and this is the Council Minute for the week of March 5th. As I'm sure you remember, way back in 2020, during the height of the pandemic, the U.S. government conducted the 2020 decennial census. The census counted people living in all 50 states and the 5 U.S. territories, and it marked the 24th time the United States has done a census. You probably also remember that Minnesota rocked it in terms of census response and participation, which is likely why we still have 8 congressional seats, and that Bloomington grew by 9% to an official 2020 count of 89,987 residents. Unofficially, I'm pretty sure we're over 90,000 people in Bloomington. Of course, that data is used in a lot of ways, and one of the most important ways is when it's used for redistricting, the drawing of new districts for the U.S. House of Representatives, the state legislature, and ultimately Bloomington City Council districts. The census numbers are used to adjust the boundaries of those congressional, state, and local districts to ensure that the number of people in each are generally equal. The congressional and state legislative maps were released in mid-February. Nationally, Bloomington will stay in the 3rd congressional district, and locally, the districts of our state senators and representatives were redrawn pretty significantly. Ultimately, Bloomington will still be represented by 2 state senators and 3 state representatives, but those names and faces will be changing a bit. Trust me when I say you'll be hearing a lot more about this in the coming months. With the congressional and state district lines redrawn, the city now has the responsibility to redraw our 4 council member districts, once again to ensure a balanced population among the districts. The Bloomington City Charter states that the difference between the most populous council member district and the least populous district must be less than 5%. Currently, the difference between the most populous district, which is District 4, and the least populous district, which is District 2, is 6.2%, which means we need to make some adjustments. Some slight changes to the district boundaries are needed to bring the populations into the appropriate range and into better balance. The proposed council member district map makes 2 changes to the current district boundaries. On the east side of the city, the boundary between District 1 and District 4 is shifted to the east, which adds population to District 1. On the west side of the city, the boundary between District 1 and 2 is shifted to the east also, which adds population to District 2. With those 2 changes, the difference in population of the most populous district, which is now District 3, and the least populous district, which is now District 1, is now 1.96%, which means we're in compliance with the city charter, and trust me, it sounds a lot more confusing than it really is. The bottom line is that the changes will ensure that our council districts are equally balanced from a population perspective. 2 additional changes that we talked about on Monday night were the renumbering of precincts in the city and changes to polling locations in some of those precincts. If you look at our existing precinct map in Bloomington, the numbers don't follow any logical sequence. For example, in District 1, the precinct numbers from east to west go roughly 7, 8, 9, 10, 30, 14, 15, 12. It's confusing. And the proposed changes try to make things a bit more logical. Again, using Council District 1 as the example, the proposed changes would make the precinct numbering go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It's an opportunity to make elections less confusing and more accessible for voters to follow. The proposed changing in polling places is something that happens to some extent every 10 years as precinct boundaries shift. In my time in Bloomington, I voted in 3 different locations while living at the same address the entire time. Some of you will be voting in different polling places later this year. But as I said, it's not as confusing as it sounds. And I commit to you that the city will use all of the tools at our disposal to inform and educate you, the voters, of any changes that will affect you. So, watch your mailbox, check out the Bloomington briefing, and stay tuned for more to follow. At our council meeting on February 28th, the council approved a comprehensive land use guide plan amendment, a rezoning, and preliminary and final development plans for a 4-story, 149-unit apartment building located at 8200 Humboldt Avenue. You may not recognize the address, but I'm sure you know the building site. The building is the big white office building located just to the west of 35W and just to the south of 82nd Street. If you travel 35W, you pass by it on a regular basis. The building there now is a 3-story, 50-year-old office building that frankly is past its useful life. The site has been ripe for redevelopment for some time, but isn't officially identified as a priority area for additional high-density housing in the City of Bloomington Comprehensive Plan. However, the comp plan's land use strategy encourages the city to use land use controls, like zoning changes, to encourage higher density residential and mixed-use development in locations that are near services and amenities and employment centers, and where significant investments in transit have been made or are planned. Well, 8200 Humboldt is immediately adjacent to the Penn American District, which includes all the new development done there recently, as well as Southtown. The Orange Line, which serves the 35W corridor, has a station located about a half-mile from the site, and Metro Transit operates the 4 and 538 bus routes along West 82nd Street. In short, this is a perfect spot for high-density redevelopment in Bloomington. The planned apartment building will include a mix of studio, 1, 2, and 3-bedroom apartments, with 9% of the units, or 14 total, being identified as affordable at 60% of the area median income. A traffic study showed that the change from an office building to an apartment building won't have a significant impact on traffic in the area, and the building design, which puts the parking lot between the building and 35W and includes 2 sizable courtyards facing Irving Avenue, is a very well organized and it's a good looking design. As I mentioned, the developers worked with city staff and utilized elements of Bloomington's innovative Opportunity Housing Ordinance. 14 units will be designated as affordable, which is important as Bloomington continues to make some pretty impressive strides in encouraging housing that people can afford. We learned recently that Bloomington is now at 78% of our 2030 affordable housing goals as identified by the Metropolitan Council. That is something to be proud of, Bloomington. That means we are encouraging and developing housing that is affordable. Affordable to our first-year teachers in Bloomington. Affordable to people who work in our hospitality industry. Affordable to healthcare workers. Work continues, but it's great to see that we're reducing barriers that prevent people who want to live in our community from actually doing so. And finally today, we've spent the last month or so working our way through the annual reports and proposed work plans of city boards and commissions. On Monday night, we heard from the Parks, Arts and Recreation Commission. Key accomplishments in 2021 included reviewing park fees and the long-range capital plan, collaborating to evaluate and award cultural arts support grants, and the adoption of the Park System Master Plan. The Master Plan was a 2-year effort to lay the foundation for the Parks Department as well as park improvements over the next 10 to 20 years. The Master Plan was led by park staff, included significant community engagement, and is a huge step forward as we work to make our parks the best they can be now and in the future. For 2022, as recommended by the Park System Master Plan, the Commission has initiatives scheduled in the Park Service Area Planning. This project will involve extensive community engagement to create a vision for 9 parks across the city. Conceptual design plans and cost estimates will be created for Sunrise, Southwood, Brookside, Poplar Bridge, Smith, Running, Gene Kelly, Bryant, and Tretbaugh Parks. Bryant and Tretbaugh Parks are slated to begin improvements in 2023. A new design for park shelters will be completed as part of this process as well. The Commission will also take up discussions of a comprehensive park maintenance and operations plan and a citywide natural resources plan. Now, acknowledging the significance of the natural resources plan, staff emphasized the importance of integrating that planning work with the work of the Sustainability Commission. Like all of our boards and commission members, the members of the Parks, Arts and Recreation Commission do outstanding work. Thank you once again to all who do these important tasks to make our city a better place. That will do it for today. Thank you for joining me. Until next time, stay safe, Bloomington.